Speed.
Scene 1, roll 1, slate 80, take 1.
Well, I think storytelling in general, it's a great chance to tell stories of people that are completely different than from you, and tell stories of people that you may not feel are represented in a way that you would like them to be seen. And so, yeah, I wanted to do something that was impactful and I think made the most of the opportunity and the budget and the resources that we have.
It's obviously the story of companionship, and it's obviously showing that people need people, and we weren't put on this world to be alone. We were put on this world because there's more of us and we're so diverse, and each of us is going through something. But at the same time, each of us is going through something differently and so individualistic that we can learn to rely on ourselves. So it's kind of, in the most beautiful way possible, this story tells opposite sides of the same coin of a lesson that we need to learn.
So we were very lucky to be fully funded in quite a quick amount of time, which is great. It meant we could really crack on with the film, secure our locations and catering and transport and design really quickly. And it was important to get a decent amount because I think design particularly is really important in this film, and the garage looks beautiful. Our designer did a great job. And as to the U-Start, I think the tiers are really important. Our backers, hopefully watching this video, will be receiving their posters. They'll be receiving their music albums with our beautiful original music from our excellent sound designer, Emily O'Gorman. And we've also got many, many other excellent awards, too many to name, really, including original canvas paintings also in our film. So all these amazing things hopefully entice people to back our film.
We started off with the Instagram, making sure that we were like connecting with people, gaining a following, so working with the director and the editor so that we could kind of build a aesthetic or theme that would like resonate through our film, and then working with my producer for the budget and the U-Start video for funding, as well as the actors. So we, working with the director, we did casting auditions over 3 days, which was really fun. I got to read lines with the actors and I got to meet them in person, which was really interesting because I'd only really communicate with them through email. So yeah, there was lots to do.
So our writer Jack, when he wrote this film, he wanted it to have a really special purpose in the world. It's going to be more than just a student film. It's going to hopefully reach beyond the university. I think that's really important. It, of course, covers sensitive issues like domestic abuse. So I believe it was Jack's idea to reach out to charities operating in this area. So I drafted a list of charities which I think might work. We whittled that down to IDAS, Independent Domestic Abuse Service, which is the largest domestic abuse charity in the north. And after lots of backwards and forwards, IDAS have been really, really supportive in the process so far. They had a call with myself, the director, and the actors to talk about accurate, believable portrayals of domestic abuse, which is really, really important, especially in the more sensitive themes of the film. And going forwards, we hope to work with IDAS even more after the release of the film, get it seen by some of the IDAS stakeholders, and really make sure that our film does have the important impact beyond university that we're hoping for.
In terms of the actual writing process, it was heavily, I think, guided by the group that we have and the team that we have. Because I think in the original pitch, it wasn't particularly clear the genre that we were going for. And then everyone, I think, had this very collaborative vision that it was a very hopeful and very optimistic film, and that kind of guided how it then operated visually. And so then that's how I kind of developed the script.
Looking at characters as people rather than characters, is understanding that even though ones you love come with flaws, and even the ones you hate come with characteristics that still make them human.
Initially, I didn't know a lot about the role, so it was only really once I saw the script that I really understood more about what the film was really about. And at that point, I could see that on the surface, George as a homeless man, you know, could be just a very sort of one-dimensional character, but there's a lot to him. You know, part of my process is to sort of take that script, pull the details out of it, construct a story that fits with that. And I felt George was an interesting, complex character. You know, he'd seen a bit of life, and he could see what was happening to Diane's character, and he wanted to help. Having been through in my constructed story, similar things.
I wanted to do a sort of different role than what I've played in the past, and the fact that Diane is like a complex character, you know, she's a victim of domestic abuse, but she's a warm person and a very strong person.
I was drawn to the role of Tom because it's a role that I don't usually play, and I was kind of interested by the possibility of, I don't know, tapping into a character who had a bit more depth, but also that was on the nastier end of the spectrum. I thought that would be quite a challenge for me as an actor.
I think my favourite trait about George is his sense of resilience that kind of sees through the entire script. I think he's obviously very guarded when we first see him, and he's very kind of not accustomed to having people around, but I think we see through his journey with Diane that he has this sense of care that has lasted regardless of the situation, regardless of him having this sense of being invisible.
I hope they see someone who is not just, you know, a one-dimensional character, someone who has some depth to him, someone who has something to offer Diane, and also someone who is capable of being redeemed in a way, you know, and getting out of his situation.
The second I got told by Miss Emily O'Gorman that there was going to be original soundtrack, and the second, you know, in one of our first meetings, she played Paper Skies for us, I was sold. I was like, we're going to do this. Don't know how, but we're going to have the songs in, we're going to have the busking in.
I think for George, he's not exactly a character who necessarily says a lot. He's very kept within. And so to be able to kind of tell his story and to be able to write a story where he could fully express how he's feeling in that moment, I think was really important to me. So with like Someday Soon, for example, which is the title song, it was important just for him to have finally found a person who sees him, and to be able to write that into a song was just, it felt right and it felt special for the character.
Found the phone call that we had with the charity super helpful and interesting, and they also had a lot of material online that I was like consuming to give myself a sense of the nature of like the subject that we were portraying on film.
Similarly for Diane, she has this kind of internal, they both have a very strong sense of resilience in, I think Diane's resilience is in her kindness. I think despite her circumstances and despite the life that she's kind of now been caught into, she still has this sense of kindness that she holds on to, and she kind of keeps that part of herself alive. I think especially through her paintings as well, which is big thanks to Cassidy Wollaston, the designer. But yeah, I think that for her, it's that sense of fight that's so subtle that comes through, I think, visually in the story as well.
I hope that they see that it's okay to like reach out to people and ask for help, and like not everything has to come from within all of the time. Like, as a victim of abuse, like a lot of the time they're painted as being weak, but it's not a weak thing to reach out to people. And what she's doing is she's helping this person, and in doing that, realizing her own worth, her own strength. And I really just hope they don't see her as a weak character, but rather a really, really strong character.
So because Diane's a painter, I wanted to have a lot of paintings in there. So I painted some myself, a lot of portraits, and I also got my lovely boyfriend, Patrick Ambrose. He does some great portraits, and he did a lovely portrait of David, who's our George, which was a really great centerpiece for the film. And I'm really excited to see how it looks, and I think it brings together a lot of their relationship, because she's sort of the first person to really see him past like the outside of everything, and really talk to him and treat him like a person. And I think that painting is a really great extension of that. I'm very excited for people to see it, because I think it's great. So this is our painting.
I'd just like to say.
And now it's gonna.
Okay.
Okay,
David.
I mean, you can see it from the back, guys, just by the way.
That's
fine.
fine. David. So this is the painting.
Oh wow! That is very good, isn't it? Excellent.
It's uncanny.
It is. That's very good.
With the locations, that really helped kind of transforming my vision. Seeing the garage and seeing kind of all the set come together was really helpful. So that really helped with the lighting and the compositions, and it also helped with kind of establishing the power dynamics between the characters.
I looked at a lot of paintings and tried to sort of think about how colours and like shapes and everything and textures was going to affect the film, and how she as a character therefore came across. I read a lot of books on production design as well, and there's a really great one by Georgina Shorter which talks a lot about texture and colour and shapes, and it's really interesting. It was really informative.
I think it will look really good. We're very lucky to have a talented DOP, and the shots are looking really nice, so I'm excited to put them together.
I think the biggest challenge has been definitely filming in public. So when we filmed in the Habit, in the pub, and also in the city centre, I think that both of those days have been difficult because we've had extras, so it's been kind of a lot to coordinate, and also just making sure that we need to wrap up like on time so we don't go over time, and also just dealing with kind of the public and cars coming past. That's been really tricky, but it's also been a good learning experience because I've never really done filming in public before like that to that extent. So I think it was really helpful in the for the future.
Definitely the schedule. We had some things that we had to work around, especially with filming in the pub. There was a very short time limit that we had, so to make sure that we could get the shots and the coverage that the DOP and the director wanted, as well as the busking scenes in the morning, having to work around the garbage, what are they called? Yeah, garbage trucks. Yeah. Bin lorries, and the noise and all the lorries and stuff. So that was definitely the hardest, but we managed to pull it off, and I think it looks really good, so happy.
The moment that we were able to come back and I kind of turned off specific microphones or lowered them when I heard like cars coming past, I think we managed to create a good decision that's hopefully giving us good sound that I'll be able to find in post.
The technical characteristic I'm most excited about is just my one dolly shot that we haven't filmed yet, but we will on our last day. And I'm going to be very happy to see it come alive, which I've inspired from The Worst Person in the World, which is a really good film. And it was really fun to just think about and map out with our DOP. And I'm just really excited to see how that will turn out tomorrow.
My favourite moment was probably the first time that the actors went in the garage, because everything was set up and then they were like in the place. It sort of brought everything together as like the whole vision of what I'd been wanting to do. So that was a really nice moment, I think.
I like filming all the scenes in the garage. Cassie did such an amazing job, and that was, anytime I'm filming in the garage, I'm like, yeah.
The first scene that we shot was very exciting. There was a lot of shouting, and there was a bottle throw, which was a little bit stressful and anxiety producing, because we were using the kind of, spoiler alert, we're using like the sugar bottle. But I found, I don't know, because we were using that and it was like a kind of one take thing, I found that quite exciting to shoot, because I knew like we had to capture it in that one moment.
I think my favourite scene to shoot has been the argument scene between Diane and Tom. Specifically doing the wide shot from outside, I just really enjoyed lighting that and coming up with the composition.
Tom Langley as an actor is really excellent. So when I watched the scene with them both in the kitchen arguing, although there was unfortunately a window separating myself and the actors, I couldn't hear or see them perfectly, but I think the tension there, although it's a very sensitive and shocking scene, I feel like they both captured that moment really, really well when I saw it.
Far as favourite scene, is probably the main one between Diane and George, because that, that's sort of the crux of the story, where it sort of comes together, really, isn't it? So yeah, and to me that's probably one of the more emotional scenes of the whole thing, and emotion is what I like.
Personally, for me, was my most nervous moment as director, because everything we learn from the film is kind of said in there, but also ignored by the characters, which is very beautifully written in. And I wanted to be able to work with the characters and work with the actors. And David and Avanya were just completely and utterly incredible at understanding.
We see them at their truest in terms of dialogue and in terms of a conversation scene. I think it was challenging to write, because it was a lot to balance in terms of it was balancing their stories against one another and how they impact each other. But I think it's a very beautiful scene, and I think watching it live especially, you have an idea of how things will sound and how it will turn out, but you never actually really know. And I think both Avanya and David brought something that even I wasn't particularly expecting, which is just this chemistry that was really beautiful and quite heartfelt to watch. So I really enjoyed that scene.
Probably when we brought out the dolly track. It was really, really cool seeing Sam on that funny little seat. It was really cool.
I think my favourite moment was definitely when we were doing the final scene in the pub, when like George plays his guitar and like everyone just watches him. That was what I enjoyed the most.
Everything just worked weirdly perfectly in the most chaotic way, which is just how Sunday set works, from what I've learned. It was just, for that scene specific, I worked very closely with our beautiful sound designer, Emily, and we decided exactly like what would fit on what place of the song, and it was a very specific thing and emotion we wanted to go. And then Sam was just amazing at getting our shots fast and efficiently.
That for me was just kind of like the pivotal moment for both characters, where they've made it out of their situations. George, not necessarily, because he wasn't exactly looking to like get off the streets, but to finally say that he's found someone who really like understands him and can call a friend, is just very special. And to be in that scene with all these extras who don't necessarily know the story, and to kind of record the song and have like the silence in the room afterwards where everyone kind of understands the emotion that's just been created, was just very special, and I really, really enjoyed it.
I think everyone involved in this production has had an eye for detail. It's not just been sort of shoot and off we go. It's we want to get it right. So I think it's going to be a good product. Hopefully my contribution will support that.
It's all going to come together, and I'm so excited. And I can't wait to see all the scenes with George in that I wasn't on set for, like all the outdoor scenes. I really want to see how those turn out.
Very excited, yeah. Really excited to see how it all turns out. Like I said, I was only in 2 scenes, so I know David and Ivania were shooting a lot of other scenes around in the other days when I was not there. So I'm really excited to see how it all plays out.
I'm very excited for the final product. We've got a few months of the edit and sound mix and color grading, all these fancy things, which I don't know how to do, but we have the best editors and sound people and graders to do it, so they will be doing that.
I'm so excited to see what we did, because I didn't really get to see what it looked like on camera when we were filming it, so it'll be interesting to see the shots that we actually got and what it looks like.
This whole process, I think the whole process of like being on set to see everything come together and come alive has been, for a writer, that's a very cool thing, and especially to see like Cinziana's ideas come to life and Sam's visuals and everyone's different ideas come together and work with the script. I think it's so cool.
I'm really excited for the final product. I think it's going to be really fun because I was working a lot with all the colours, and there's a lot of oranges and blues and those kind of colours, so I'm really interested to see how those are going to translate in the colour grade.
I'm really, really excited. I think we've got some really, really beautiful shots, and I'm really excited to see David and Ivania's performance on the big screen.
You know, I'm really happy with everything we've done so far, and I'm really excited to see how it comes together in the edits, and you know, I'm sure it'll be great.
I am so excited for the final product. Going into post-production will allow me to see the final product hopefully before everyone. I'll be working very closely with the director to create the vision of the final film, but to be able to fully create the vibe that we are all aiming towards throughout pre-production and production is very exciting, and I'm so excited for everyone to see it.
I can't wait to go over drafts with our lovely editor Simi, who's been on set with us every day, taking notes, making sure she's got all the coverage and all the shots needed, and making sure we're giving her all the material needed to produce an amazing final project. And then I can't wait to work with Emily, of course, and like get our sound working for a film and get our songs in. And honestly, I can't wait to be in the little sound mixing room looking at all the busking scenes, because I'm sure those would turn out perfectly. And can't wait to be in the color grading suite with Sam and just give that balance between all the colors that we've talked about and the warm tones of Diane, and just give life to this beautiful set designed by Cassie.
Wait. Is it filming?
Yeah.
And what was that?
That's a wrap!
On day 2.
And what was that? A wrap on David!
What is it?
It's a wrap on Tom! And what was that? That's
A wrap on Ivania!
How many letters in Ivania plus 2?
8!
You ready? Everyone say thank you and goodbye to Ivania. Fanny, I don't know if I'm filming at all. I hope. Are we in frame? I don't know.
You've probably done a better job than Emily. Wait, am I saying it now?
You're a question and I'm C.
Okay. Catch you.
Actually. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, you say.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah. And what was that? That's a wrap on Sunday soon!
Unnecessary.
Right,
Okay.
tidying up.
Where's the
How do I turn this off? Bye. Say bye. Bye. Bye.